Hey folks, welcome to the Dennis Miller Show. I am the aforementioned Mr. Miller. Middle of the State of the Union tonight, two rear doors kick open. Olbermann comes in like Quasimodo, chained in a haystack. Everybody just mocking him. Would it be beautiful?
Oh, it would be.
We'll be taking your phone calls in our next segment, 866-509-RANT, 866-509-7268. Then we'll talk to Scooter Cavuto, who will be anchoring the Fox Business Network's State of the Union coverage tonight. Nobody knows more. This guy's the sharpest tactically in the business, but we're going to talk about schools today a little first. Joining us is Dick Morris. His website is dickmorris.com, and his upcoming book is Revolt, How to Defeat Obama and Repeal His Socialist Programs. Not sure at this point. He might not be the president again, but if he can be defanged, I'm okay with that. Dick, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here, Dennis.
National School Choice Week.
You outside the green room.
National School Choice Week, my friend, January 23rd, 29th. Why is it in your heart?
Well, I believe that there is nothing wrong with public education that breaking the power of the teachers' union won't solve. Mm-hmm. And I wrote that about 4 years ago in the book Outrage, my wife and I wrote together. And I believe that that the teachers' union has a death grip on our schools. And they demand their money, and they demand their bonuses, and their marked up insurance coverage, and their inflated custodian charges, and their inflated pupil transportation fees. And they don't care what happens to the schools. You look at Detroit, where because of the demands of the union and the costs the union imposes, they now have class sizes of 62 kids in high school. They've had to close two-thirds of schools in Detroit. There basically is no public education system. And this week, I'm running around the country promoting the idea of school choice, vouchers, scholarships, home schools, private schools, parochial schools, charters, homeschooling, virtual and online schooling, anything to offer parents the choice that they need in schools and to break this monopolistic one-size-fits-all grip of the teachers' union. And there's kind of a perfect storm happening here, Dennis. We have 11 new Republican governors, 19 new legislative chambers that have gone Republican, all of whom are facing terrible budget shortfalls. And in Pennsylvania, Indiana, Florida, Wisconsin, Ohio, the governors, new Republicans in all those states, have taken initiatives to promote school choice and basically give parents the equivalent of a voucher for $6,500, the equivalent of the state funding, and they can take it to any school they want that's accredited. And it promotes this kind of choice. And in the meantime, Congress is shutting off the bailouts for the states. No more bailouts. So the state is going to have to try to make its money go further. And charter schools and private schools cost one-third less than public schools do. So that's why we're pushing the idea of charter schools and private schools and scholarships as the alternative to slashing education in this budget shortfall.
You know, Dick, not since Terms of Endearment have I seen a film as heartbreaking as Waiting for Superman. I couldn't even stay around for the lottery at the end because I felt so for those kids. The fact that they can accrue tenure after, in essence, working a year, I guess now, it to me seems to be the huge problem in public high school teachers' unions, right?
Well, I think you're right. A third of all new teachers quit after 2 years, and half quit after 5 years because in return for that tenure, they have to lock themselves into a system with no promotion until they're very senior, great job security, but no upward mobility, no creativity, no flexibility, and no reward for doing a good job. In fact, the teachers' union got the New York legislature to pass a law. This would qualify for one of your jokes, but it's true. Prohibiting the basing of teacher compensation on their students' test scores. You go to jail if you do that.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's we've fallen through the bunny hole at that point. They're driving away the best and the brightest, and they're establishing lifetime gigs for the inept, and they're burning it at both ends. They're burning it down.
In New York City, there are 1,000 teachers that show up every day at what are called a rubber room.
Yes.
And it's a room where the teachers sit there and read the newspaper and do whatever they want, and they get fully paid. And the reason they're in that room, not in the classroom, is that the chancellor has determined they are too abusive, too incompetent, or too senile, but just too crazy to expose them to students. But we can't fire them because of the union. And we spend $40 million a year subsidizing that rubber room.
It is a death spiral, and we have to tend to it. Dick Morris talking about National School Choice Week, January 23rd to the 29th. Find out more at his website, dickmorris.com. Dick, I'm not sure...
Schoolchoiceweek.com.
Okay, again, please?
Schoolchoiceweek.com.
All right. Dick, I'm not sure that I need Barack Obama to be stopped if he's going to completely come around on everything. I guess there's this sort of Damocles of him appointing the next Supreme Court justice. But if he's just going to turn into Dick Cheney and George Bush, it doesn't bother me as much as he used to that he might get a second term.
Yeah, that would be true if it were true. To put it, I don't know if that works, but it would be true. If it were true.
So this is all a Trump lawyer in your eyes, what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. The fact is that, he says, I'm cutting back on federal regulations. In the meantime, EPA is imposing cap and trade, driving our manufacturing offshore administratively. The National Labor Relations Board is banning the secret ballot in union elections, which will force unions down workers' throats whether they like it or not. The FCC is regulating the Internet now for the first time, and the FCC is squelching talk radio. They're going to come after you. They're going to require that all stations have a quarter of their program locally generated, which stations can't afford, and they'll go back to top 40 music. So while he's promulgating the one thing, he's doing the other. And what the Republicans have to do is to say, okay, we take you at your word. You're moderate. You're going to compromise. You're going to rescind all this stuff. Great. Begin by cutting the federal spending by $2.5 trillion over the next 10 years and roll the spending back to the levels it was when you took office, or we won't increase the debt limit. What? You won't do that? You mean you don't think you're really a moderate?
Yes.
Well, how about you defund Obamacare and don't enforce the individual mandate and don't enforce rationing and don't cut Medicare? What? You're not going to do that? You mean you're not really a moderate? And they'll pose these choices one after another, and Obama will show that he's basically still a radical. He's just trying to con the people a second time. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Well, for once, I think, and we'll see the man after the State of the Union tonight, I think they've got a guy who's as sharp in his way as Morris is and knows that this man has to be turned on and exposed at every juncture. I think Paul Ryan will step up tonight. I think he's a sharp cookie. What do you make of Ryan?
Ryan is the smartest man I've met in American politics since Bill Clinton.
There you go. That's all I need said, because Morris is as sharp as they come. Thank you, brother. Good to talk to you. Dick Morris, dickmorris.com. Tells me everything I need to know in one sentence there. If Morris gives him his imprimatur, the guy is whip smart. All right, National School Choice Week, January 23rd, 29th. Go, at the very least, just to get your ire raised. Go see Waiting for Superman or Netflix it and go from there. But it's... I don't even know where you start there. All right, we're going to take phone calls after the break. Steve in Texas is first up. 866-509-RANT, 866-509-7268. This is the Dennis Miller Show.